Hi everyone, this is Ian from Freedom with Writing and Writing Launch. In this video I'm going to go over the elements of a pitch in a little more depth and talk about what makes a good pitch recipe, so to speak. So in yesterday's bonus you looked at one of my pitch templates that I've used to get published. In this video I'm going to break down why that pitch works so well. So that's the question for today. Why does a good pitch template work the way it does? And when you're done with this video, you'll be able to take this information and use it to construct your own pitch completely from scratch, or you can use the information to modify the pitch template from yesterday. First part, of course, is the introduction. And this starts out with hi and then the name of editor. And a good note here is to always personalize your greeting. So there's a little work here right off the bat, a little psychology at work. By placing the editor's name, it shows that you've done your homework and that you know who you're pitching to. Many times when you have a vague reading, your pitch can just seem like a form letter. You know, there's the horrible to whom it may concern, which is just horrible for all situations because you don't know who you're pitching to. You know, if you send out a bunch of pitches without doing your homework and just plop that at the beginning, it's going to show and the editors are going to be able to tell. So by having their name, it really shows that you know who you're pitching to and that you've done your due research. Now, Dear Editor is fine if you can't find any information at all, but I would say 9.9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to find the information that you need. And how to do that is to check the editorial information very thoroughly. Usually the writer's guidelines will have editorial contact info, but if you can't find anything there, check sections like the About section, the masthead, any editorial or contact pages you find, and you should find what you're looking for. If you can't find anything, you can always try to call if they have a number available, but if not, Dear Editor is fine. But if you can, find who you're going to be pitching to, your section editor or the main editor, whoever is in charge of the department that you're pitching to. And next is just a very straightforward proposition of the article. And this is important because it makes your purpose clear. It states your intent up front. And there's no beating around the bush. It gets straight to the point. Like in the webinar, we talked about editors not having a lot of time. And a short pitch is a way of respecting that lack of time. Because you're not asking them for a huge time commitment. You're just asking them to have a brief moment to go over your pitch. And that's all it takes. So when you're making your introduction, it's important to keep everything short and to the point. No long anecdotes, no lengthy introductions, nothing like that. Just very short and direct. So now we get on to the pitch itself. And so the first part of the pitch in the template is talking about your article, how many words it is, what subject it is about, what you're going to do with the article. And this is important because it gives succinct details about your article. It's descriptive where necessary, but it doesn't go too long into talking about the article. It presents all the necessary info, the title, the word count, and the subject, and that's really all you want to convey in your pitch. And if your pitch is strong enough and if your idea is good enough, that's all you need. The best way to really sell your pitch is to keep it short and describe a unique idea or a unique angle in your pitch, and demonstrate that you know the publication and their readers and what they like to read. And if your article is a good fit, then more than likely you'll get published. And this section also tells the editor why your piece is right for the publication. So this is sort of your chance to persuade. You want to use compelling language in a short space and basically just sell your article, sell why it's so good. And then you've got the bio section. And this is something that I think a lot of writers get wrong because they think their bio has to have a bunch of credentials, but really what your bio section is in a pitch is a way of giving context for your pitch. So it doesn't have to be fancy or be full of credentials. You don't have to have a PhD or be published in a ton of magazines or whatever. Because the main point of your bio is to show your relevant experience, and that's it. Usually credentials are a way of showing that experience, but it doesn't have to be. If you're just starting out, you can just simply say you're a writer with experience in whatever field or niche that the publication is in. So, for example, I could say, I'm a writer with experience in blogging or finance or something like that. And that's really all you need, because as Jacob said, a lot of times editors simply don't care about your credentials and they overlook them, because what's more important is delivering to a specific audience and delivering great content for a publication and delivering content that's relevant. So if you keep the audience in mind and the publication in mind, you really don't need to worry about having a bio that isn't full of credentials. And last but not least, there's the CTA, the call to action. So my example here is pretty straightforward. Would this article be a good fit? If so, I can have it ready by a specific date. And like I said in the webinar, this is so strong because it ends by creating a conversation and it opens up the lines of communication. It's not just sort of a pitch that you're throwing out and letting it land where it may. You're initiating something. And by saying that you can have the article ready by a certain time, you're kind of pitching like you've already gotten accepted. You're going ahead and talking about writing it, which is implying the next step, and that tells the editor you're ready to go write this thing. And that's not only a sign of a confident pitch, it's also a sign of a writer who's ready to follow through, because a lot of writers pitch and never follow through, and so editors have to be really wary of that. So if you imply that next step, you're kind of short-circuiting that process and letting the editor know that you're going to follow through with this. And finally, some important points to keep in mind. You definitely want to find out who you're pitching to, whether that's a section editor or a general editor-in-chief or whomever. And you want to keep it short. I can't stress this enough. Editors just don't have time. They would rather have a short pitch that's so-so than a long pitch that's fantastic, because no matter how fantastic a long pitch is, it's not going to get read if it's too long. You want to give all the necessary information about your article, but don't give any more. This is not the place to be descriptive. You can save that for the article. The pitch needs to be short, sweet, and to the point. No two ways about it. And you want to end by starting that dialogue. Open up the lines of communication and make sure that you're initiating the next step in the process already. So that's it for this video. I hope you found that useful. I'm really excited to be bringing to you a third and final bonus tomorrow, which will appear in your inbox sometime. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. It's ian@freedomwithwriting.com, and I'll see you tomorrow.